Today's forum is on 4 psychology tricks when asking for money, because we as unique human individuals and not AI can do this in a way that AI can't, right? So really some key takeaways today hopefully will work well for you as you continue your work in this relationship building industry, right? The major gift ask can be one of the most daunting tasks as a fundraiser. It's very easy to put off. Um, it's very easy to, talk yourself out of, because why? Fear of rejection. We are hardwired to avoid rejection. Nobody likes to be told no. And when the stakes are high, as in it could be transformational for your organization, it is completely understandable that we have a challenge with it. But it can also be one of the most rewarding things that we do as fundraisers, right? It is the name of the game. It is how we move the needle. It is how we have that transformational impact for our organizations, our communities, and those individuals that we are serving. So it is critical to our success. And today we want to break it down into 4 simple tasks that we can focus on to really make sure that we are able to move forward in the most effective way possible when asking for money. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Shauna to get us started.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Marty. As we bebop into this first slide, I wanted to just say, if you're part of our tribe and joined us at the Pride Development Institute this year in lovely New Orleans, you heard all about the psychology of giving and how to utilize that to benefit and connect with our donors, right? It's important to note, while we say out of fun and out of the box things in terms of like how to trick our board into being engaged, how to use psychology tricks, we're not really tricking them, right? Let's just, be honest about that. What we're doing by using these terms, by using these tricks, is to know and care for our prospects and our donors on a deeper level. And think about it this way. When someone seems really to be invested in us and care about us on a deeper level, we're more fulfilled, right? So that's what we're doing. This is for the benefit of our prospects and donors. It's not just to have a trick up our sleeve and be, a shyster. So I wanted to just put that out there because we use this term pretty loosely, and we use it a lot in terms of tricking, but it's a good trick. It's a good, funny trick, right? So we're going to start out with number 1 of the 4 things that we are focused on, which is remember that your donors, your prospects, are likely already giving, right? That takes a lot of the fear out of it. They're already giving. They should be giving to us, right? So I think it's helpful that you are not reinventing the wheel. Think of it that way. You are not getting these people to give for the first time. You are not doing something that is pioneering with most of your individuals. Giving feels good. You've heard us talk a lot, or if this is your first time with us, giving feels good, and we're able to give people the gift of giving. Lots of gift words within that space, right? But that's what we're doing. Giving feels good. Don't think of it as arm twisting. Don't think of it as forcing people to do something. We're giving them a gift to be able to give to us. We just have to show them how. The majority of people give every year. How cool is that? Regardless of income level, 60% actually of American households give annually. I have found this to just be so stinking encouraging whenever you're working, especially within employee giving spaces, that a lot of times your lower level employees are your most generous people percentage wise. You know why I think that is? I could be wrong, but I think it's because they have experienced the power of generosity. They have been on the receiving end of generosity, so they love to give back. So think of it that way. I challenge you, even when people say we can't ask because they don't have enough money. No. We can ask. We don't decide if they have enough money. People love to give because giving feels good. Over 90% of high net worth households give to charity. So it's even better odds when we're talking about those bigger gifts. So I just address the smaller gifts most often, right? But when we're addressing those bigger gifts, 90% of high net worth households are giving to charity. A lot of that is because their accountants and their financial professionals are telling them they have to. So even better, they have to, might as well give to us. But even better from that space, if they're giving out of the goodness of their heart, we for sure want them to be part of our tribe, right? So, especially during challenging times, people want to belong and be part of something. We have seen this through the pandemic. We have seen it that giving gives people purpose, right? It highlights the acceptance of them as part of our tribe, right? It allows for continued connection, right? When we were all sitting at home twiddling our thumbs, when we were all sitting at home not able to connect with other people, we yearned for connection. If we're giving to an organization that connects with us, we have a solution to that problem. Let's be the solution to that problem, right? And it establishes the tribe as a unit. One of my favorite all-time words, tribe. Our donors, our prospects should become part of our tribe. Our donors should be part of our tribe. Our tribe is those generous people who are moving our missions forward, right? People during challenging times more than ever, they're not pulling back and saying, no, 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 I don't want to be involved in something. They're saying, give me purpose. Show me how I can make a difference with you, right? Next slide, please, Trish. So as we remember that they're already giving, when we're nervous about asking, right? We're using the psychology trick of remember that they're already giving. What are we doing? All of us on this call, what are we doing to set our organization, our mission, our cause apart from all of the other great causes out there? Because we hear that all the time, right? Yeah, but Shauna, there's 40 other organizations that are asking them for money. Well, get on the list and be better at it than they are. Okay. Show them how you're going to use their gift. Don't just go in willy-nilly. Show them. Let them be a part of it. How are you going to use that gift? How will you demonstrate the impact of that gift? After they've given, how are you going to show them that they are making a difference? No matter how small, no matter how big, how are you reflecting the impact of their gift to them, right? And how will you recognize those that contribute to your mission? Ultimately, whether they're given $5 or they're given $5 million, they are furthering your mission. How are you going to recognize them? Because of what we reviewed just on that past slide, they want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of us. How do we keep them? We recognize them as part. We include them. And I stinking love this last line. And Marty, I can't take credit for it. Marty put this in here, but every charity in town can accept gifts from donors, but far fewer do all the correct things after receiving the gift. Be good at stewardship. Be good at retention. Do the right thing by your donors and make sure that you are thanking them and you are keeping them involved and engaged. Remember, they are already giving. They should be giving to you. Okay. All right. Next slide, please, Trish. I love this too. This is reverse psychology, right? Present an offer, opportunity, invitation rather than a request for a gift. So think about it in those terms. You're asking them to join you. You're asking them for their advice. You're asking them to be a part of what you're doing rather than requesting a gift, right? They are joining your tribe, right? We thought of you first. What does this look like? We thought of you first. We're presenting this to you first. We know that this is super impactful to you because your grandfather received care here, or your grandfather passed away during our services and your family was so impacted. We know that this is an area that you are especially interested in. We wanted you to hear about it first. We wanted you to see this first. Before we go into the community, we wanted to share this opportunity with you first. Make them feel special because they are, right? When you change it from your internal emotions to focusing on how they are going to feel during that ask, it takes so much off your shoulders. You are just focusing on making them feel included and invite them to join XY Giving Club. And what are those magic words that we use in that space? Join me. We want for you to join me within this space. I am giving at this level. If you're a volunteer and you're on the phone, this is specifically for you. I'm asking you to consider joining me in the Outdoor Society Giving Club. I'm asking you to join me. I want you to too, right? And you can do that as paid staff too. We're asking you to join this incredible group of people that are giving at this level. would you consider it? Okay. So we want to present an offer opportunity, make them feel like we're giving them the best deal in the world. They are given money that they have to give away or they want to give away, and they get all of this out of it, right? All right. Next slide, please, Trish. We are seeking meaningful connections, which means they are seeking meaningful connections. We want to invite them to make a transformational impact, not transactional, transformational. We want to establish a meaningful connection with our donors. That's what retains them. That's what keeps them coming back. Meaningful connection. It's not rocket science to do that. A thank you card from your CEO that says, hey, I know that you invested in this space and I just walked through that space recently and I just want to tell you thank you. Meaningful connection, not rocket science. And naming opportunities are a wonderful opportunity for people to sign something and leave a legacy, right? It doesn't have to be their name. You'll hear people say constantly, I can't put my name on something that's so, that's so ostentatious. That's so whatever it is. Usually they will put their name on it, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But what they will do is put somebody who they love's name on there, right? I want to do this in honor of my mother. I want to do this in honor of my kids. I want to do this in honor of this professor who changed my life. Naming opportunities are such a beautiful carrot. Is that such a thing? Beautiful carrot, not a diamond, but like an actual carrot that you dangle. Naming opportunities are a great carrot to use whenever you're talking with donors. So those are the first two psychology tricks that we have for you in terms of how to not be nervous and how to work better with your donors. And I'm going to turn it over to Marty now, she's going to do the last two of that. Marty, take it away, please.
Thank you, Shauna. So as we continue this sort of shift in mindset, right? Number 3 is know that the number you are thinking of asking for is probably too low. And this is definitely a tough one where we're in that signature major gifts area, right? People, again, for fear of rejection, we oftentimes choose a number that is a little bit lower because we think, well, if I ask them for 10,000, I know that's a home run. They'll cut me a check today. But if I ask them for $500,000, there's going to be a lot more work to be done and they're not going to be able to just write it today. And I might get a no, and then we might lose them forever, right? Likely you're not going to lose them forever. It is very, very rare to offend someone by asking too high. Generally, they might say, I'm flattered. I can't do that, but I can do this. And then, right? Then you've got a starting point. So, as we know that the number we're thinking of is probably too low, we want to definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, be specific with the amount that you're asking for. It's also common to say, well, they're somewhere in that range. And so I'll just say, do something that's significant or meaningful to you. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? That is so broad, right? So all too often when, we talk up and ask and we know that they're capable of something and we go and we're not specific, we leave so much money on the table. So that's my first little tip within this realm is make sure that you are specific. Just confidently lay out the number because then you know where you stand and then you know where to go from there. And when in doubt, ask higher rather than lower. How many of us have made an ask and gotten a yes and we're like, they just said yes, like right away? I asked way too low. I've had people say, so I'm going to do that this year. What happens next year? And I was like, you're leading me down the right path. I completely messed up that ask because I should have asked for something where they said, I don't know, that's a little bit much. And then I came in with well, guess what? A lot of people are choosing to do that over 3 years. And then it brings it down for them and it's very comfortable, right? But a great segue into that next point is don't lead with the pledge time frame or terms. Listen to their response first. I bet there's several people on this call, again, out of nerves, thinking like, I just want to put everything out there, who have said, would you consider a gift of $50,000 and you can do that over 5 years and that would be just $10,000 a year, right? And we throw it all out there. We've just put all of our cards on the table, right? Don't lead with that. If you're making a $50,000 ask, Confidently say, I sure hope you'll consider a gift of $50,000. Or I thought of you first for this really incredible naming opportunity to name this room, and it is $50,000. And we be quiet and let them talk, right? And so when we have that, then we are able to talk about a time frame, talk about a pledge period, work it out, and again, customize it to the donor, right? So if we ask high enough, hopefully then we are going to negotiate something out that makes sense for them and works well for everyone, right? Um, Y'all, 64% of donors say they would have given more if they were asked for it. So this is an important lesson on knowing that the number we are thinking of is probably too low, making sure that we shift that mindset. As much as it may be hard, as much as it may seem like, gosh, I'm going to get rejected if I do this, go high, go specific, and then be quiet and let them dictate the rest of the conversation. You confidently go that way, you're going to leave a lot less money on the table. Next slide, please, Trish. The last trick up our sleeves, detach from the outcome. Very much easier said than done, right? Because again, we are hardwired. We do not like to be rejected. And if I get a no, that means I failed, right? It doesn't mean you failed. It just means it might not have been the right time. It might not have been the right ask. There are so many opportunities to move beyond that, that we have to allow ourselves to detach from the outcome. Okay. So how do we do this? Y'all, authenticity is key. That's one of my favorite words. I think the more that we can wrap our head around how can we do this in a way that's authentic, the better we can proceed, right? And so if we are authentic, we know that at the end of the day, this is not about me. This is about them and their situation. We're flipping this onto the donor. It's donor centric. And we are much more able to just be authentic in what we're doing, right? Who likes that pushy salesperson, right? We don't want that. We don't want to be pushy. We want to confidently present the opportunity that we are giving to them, convey the impact they will have and the importance of it, and make them feel really, really great about it. And most of us, we can do that. If we are able to detach from, oh gosh, what happens if piece, we much more confidently can do that. So I go back to that, make the ask and be silent, right? Put it out there. I love this. I have this little thing in my office that says, when the day is over and you've done your best, wait the results in peace. Sometimes we need to take that, right? Just peacefully, after we put it all out there, be quiet, see what happens next, right? So if we try to be as impartial as possible when making the ask, two things will happen. We are going to focus more on what the donor is actually telling us is important to them, right? Again, that pushy salesperson that just keeps on selling and selling it. Sometimes we've already said yes, and the person who wants to keep selling, right? How many of us do that too? But we're like, but wait, there's more. Guess what? There doesn't have to be more, right? So if we focus on detaching and we are just like, this is really great, then we stop and listen and we hear what's important to them. And we hear if we have, a ways to go to get their goals and our goals to be one, right? We hear how we bring that into play. And then the other thing is, we're going to be a lot less concerned about being told no, right? It's not about us. It's not a failure on our part. We know we've got a great organization with a great opportunity for them. And, we put our best shot out there. And if it's a no, it's a not right now. There's still another opportunity for future, right? Next slide, please. So kind of back to that, express your passion, but don't oversell it, right? Be passionate, be authentic, put it out there, give it your best shot, but don't oversell it. Leave them wanting more, right? Leave them wanting to ask questions. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make, especially in a really important big ask, is that we just talk too much. When you know you're sitting down with someone, they know what you're there to talk about. If you're able to just put the information briefly out there, sort of tell them what it is that you're looking to do, that opens up the conversation, because until you say that number or what it is, everyone's thinking about it. So once you get it out there, everyone can kind of, okay, so this is what we're talking about. And then we have an opportunity to have a dialogue and answer more questions. We got to focus on building relationships. Again, we are focused on what is important to the donors, really and truly. Listen to what's important to them. Don't try to put, a square peg in a round hole. If it's not the right fit, nobody's going to be happy in the end, right? Seek to understand what inspires and motivates them. Sometimes we present an incredible naming opportunity and we think we've got 10 reasons why this should be a good fit, right? I look at Shauna, I look at her history, I've done all my research, I can check 10 boxes on why she would want to name this thing. And yet we go to talk about it and she has zero interest. I missed the mark. But if I listen to her and she tells me what's important to her, and I seek to understand what motivates and inspires her, I can go to my plan B. Because hopefully we had a plan B, right? We had the ultimate what we thought they would want to do, but here are 2 or 3 other ideas of what might be important to them. I think when we really truly listen and try to understand our donors and our prospects, that's when the magic can happen. And that is when we have detached from those outcomes, right? Because we are just putting ourselves out there and we are letting it play out how it organically and authentically needs to. And at the end of the day, it's important to draw lines between their values and your mission, right? Their values, your mission. How can you bring those as close together as possible? That is the end of our psychology trick. So I want to just do a little recap and then we'll answer any questions that anyone may have. So, in summary, our 4 earth-shattering tips for you today. Remember that they're already likely giving, right? We're not trying to convince someone that, hey, you should give, because that in and of itself can be um, a mindset we just have to get over, right? Maybe this is our first time in fundraising. Maybe we're a new volunteer and we've never ever thought about fundraising, and gosh, somebody asked you to do it and you kind of said you had to because you said you would because you just felt like you had to. But most people on instinct are like, oh, I'd rather have a root canal than ask someone for money. Are you kidding me? Right? But when you actually remember that they're likely already giving, all you're having to do is tell them why your organization is the best one, right? Then if we can present an offer, an opportunity, an invitation, build that relationship, we have a transformational impact opportunity rather than a transaction, right? If it's, hey, we've got this great organization, all these needs, we hope you'll give to us. That can be compelling, but it's much more compelling to say, gosh, there are these needs in the community that we as an organization are serving, and you can be the hero in this story. Help us do this. We want to invite you to be a part of that. That is much more of a mindset for people to want to join the cause and be a part of our tribe, right? Know that the number you are thinking of asking for is probably too low. Again, when in doubt, shoot high. And lastly, detach from the outcome. As hard as that is to do, detaching from the outcome really and truly lets us be authentic, lets us listen, and lets us maximize the impact and opportunities that exist. So with that, I saw the chat going a little bit. I think, were there some questions or comments? Let's see. Love detachment from the outcome. That's a skill I need to work on. I think all of us, right? Again, because it's so hard to not take things personally, right? Because we're passionate about our work. We're there because it matters to us, and it's hard not to take it personally. So that detachment, thanks for mentioning that. Definitely difficult to be both personally invested in the outcome and detached. 110%, right? It's definitely something, but I think by shifting that mindset, we set ourselves up for the very best opportunity to do that. Okay, let's see. Frank has, do you like to add in visuals as you have a conversation? Um, so Frank, I'm guessing that you're talking about like, hey, I'm making an important ask and I want to hand you some information that has like visually some information, or I'm doing a big presentation to an organization and here's some visuals. Is that what you're meaning? So I think there's a time and place for visuals. I think especially, in major gift asks, we're asking people to dream along with us. And when we can create an image in their mind, I think that's important. But at the first ask, at the first point of ask, I don't like visuals until we start to actually unpack the conversation. Here's what I'm here to talk to you about today. As you know, we've been working on this project and we have something really, really special in mind for you. And we wanted you to consider naming the whatever. And that would mean this: be quiet. After that is when I would break out any sort of visuals. Sometimes it's a take home with them visual. What happens if you put something on a screen or you hand something to someone when you're sitting down with them, they start to look at it and then they stop listening, right? So it's a lot more authentic in my personal experience when we're able to just connect on a relational and talk to someone person to person, and sort of hopefully lead with that emotion and connection. And then just say, well, I'm really glad that you asked. I brought some information. Or you may even say, hey, I brought some information to us to look at, but first I just want to talk to you one-on-one. Here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think about that? They may say, hey, can we take a look? What do you have schematics of this, construction project you're working on? Or what does that look like? Or even if they don't ask, maybe you have some photographs of, real people in the community that are being served, right? You've got some kids, some heartstringing images. Those are great things to bring out, but I like to bring that out kind of sort of after you've actually made the ask. So it's not distracting from it, but it's just adding to it. What does everyone else think? Anyone else have kind of tips with that they like? Any comments? Okay. Do we have any other questions? Karen, no secret. It can get difficult to detach when hidden goals are the focus in the organization, and not building relationships. This is where I hear challenging conversations from past colleagues. Paperwork gives them an out. They can say, I'd like to look at this over and get back to you. Yep, absolutely. It gives them that hey, I've got something now. Well, I've got a lot to think about. I'll get back to you for sure. Great comments. Any other questions or comments? Thank you all so much for your participation. These are great and very helpful. Ooh, what is your best advice if told no? Erica, appreciate that. Um, well, Shauna, do you want to chime in? I don't have the only one speaking here, but why
Yeah.
don't you take this
Yeah,
one?
I'm happy to. I think my best advice for you, and this is applicable to me more than you, but hopefully it's applicable to all of us, is to not take it personally. I mean, really, it's excruciating to get a no, but I think some of your most powerful givers come from no's. I really do. And think of it that way, that no, sometimes people are going to just be crappy, or, they have situations where they are saying no. But I think a lot of times no gives you an opportunity to stick with it, to keep them engaged, and then to ask again. I think a lot of times people push us and say, no, I'm not interested. Prove yourself. And so think of it that way. And you can use your judgment there,
Yes,
like
please.
you can tell they're saying no and they don't need to, be further engaged. You'll know it. But if you also feel like they want to say yes and it's just not the right time or something of that sort, stick with it. And also, a follow-up to my best advice to you would be to say can you help me understand why? Like we want to be able to connect with people better, to make the next ask better.
Thank you.
Can you help us understand why this isn't a good fit for you? And they might tell you it's just not the right time. Would love to give you, but it's not the right time. Or they might say, I had a really bad experience with your organization, actually. Okay, can we help you fix it? Ask them if you're comfortable, and
Can
practice
I
that
get a
ahead of
couple of
time. practice being able to
Yeah.
say,
Yes,
can you
please.
help me understand so that we can improve, why this isn't of interest to you? Practice having that in your back pocket. That will also make you more confident. So that would be my answer to that.
Thank you, Shauna. I see iPhone has their hand raised. I don't know if that was intentional or is that Prince? Is that who that was? Did you have a question? iPhone? I see the hand raised. Maybe not.
Hello?
Um, yes. Did you have a question?
Yes, please. Listen, thank you so very much for the awesome presentation. It's just a blessing. My first question is, can we get the the presentation, sent to us? The
Yes,
recorded presentation. Yeah,
yes, we
great.
should be able to send that to you. Absolutely.
Okay, and then a follow up. Is there anybody that we can, reach out for further, a question?
Yes, absolutely. So definitely we will get you our contact information so you can ask follow-up questions for us. Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. I think that we had one more question. Oh, just another comment. Yes. No, great. Thanks y'all for chiming in the comments. I'm not going to read everything if there's not another another question there, but absolutely appreciate that dialogue. I think that's so helpful. And, one of my favorite things about these forums is that we learn from each other, right? And when you hear, gosh, somebody else had that question or somebody else feels that way too, it definitely helps inspire and keep us moving forward, doing the good work that we're doing. So appreciate y'all for your participation. Well, with that, again, if anyone has any other questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We're happy to answer more questions. But in the essence of time, in keeping with our 45 minutes, I just wanted to call your attention to the screen. If you are not already following us on LinkedIn, please go ahead and do that. We've got some great content that we're putting out there consistently week after week. I'm hopeful that that's super helpful to you and your programs. Feel free to share that with your friends as well.